Doom Patrol, Episode 4, Colt Patrol. This show, Jesus, man, this show, hands down, best comic book show yet. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It This episode really is just a filler episode, but it makes the little elements of progress for each character in discoveries of themselves. But at the same time, it manages to be such an entertainment. It dazzles. Most shows, when they have a filler episode, it's like, let's just get through this. Let's just get through this. There's a reason they call it filler episodes, but this show managed to be so entertaining. Uh, from the very start. Now there's a lot to go over here, but we start off with a kid, Elliot, and he's got these tattoos on him and it's like sprinkled on him. Not everywhere yet, but they will be everywhere once he's older. He's got this family that celebrating his birthday with mom and dad, and the mom says something. I can't remember exactly what it was she said, but the dad seems like he's hesitant to give the positive answer she wants, which comes up later as they show 18 years later, his birthday again, more tattoos all over him. He's been led to believe he's going to be a hero. He's going to save the world. And the mom brings out the cake. She goes to say she's going to cut the cake. Big surprises happen here. Big surprises happen here as the dad tells the kid to run, that he's supposed to end the world, not save it, and they're going to use him. Bam! He is murdered right before his son's eyes by the mother, and the mother gets mad because the kid runs off and she's chasing him with the cake. She's like, God damn it! She said something a bit hilarious, and then we get to see Mark Shepard. If you're familiar with Supernatural, he is a great actor. He played Crowley on Supernatural. Mark Shepard does such a great job here playing Willoughby. Willoughby is, if you're familiar with any other DC shows, probably CW DC shows. If you're familiar with Constantine, Willoughby is a lot like Constantine. He's a Knights Templar. He's a musician. Well, I wouldn't say musician as what a sorcerer, but he gets attacked by some agents, some sort of royal guard of what do they call it, Nurmheim. So he's got to find this kid and save the world, but he goes looking for a chief. And back at the mansion, like there's just he is great this whole episode. There are all kinds of funny things he does. He's got this dental floss that's supposed to, you know, it's the strongest. It is the strongest thread in reality or something, and they're supposed to use it to shut this guy's hands, so all these royal guards stop pouring out of their dimension. But there's so much weirdness in here. He smokes. I can't remember. He smokes the ashes of. I think it's a Jonah or Jaina. Somebody, some important figure. He smokes their ashes to open a dimensional rift to get the kid, rescue the kid with Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol goes through. They bring out the kid and like, close the gate, because that crazy mother is back trying to chase after them. There's just so much in here. He does this little ritual with some kind of blue horse unicorn thing surfacing. I'm not 100% familiar with Doom Patrol comics, but I do know a bit of it. Uh, this was visually amazing though. This episode has so many visually amazing things going for it, and the characters, we see character progress, some real character progress. At first, Rita's a bit annoying in this episode as she's still on her, I don't want to be a hero kick. I don't want to help kick. And Cyborg is a little bit dull. Yeah, he's so focused on the mission that that's all there is to him. And Robot Man, he gets little sprinkles of character development through here. So does Jane, as Jane is Hammerhead this episode, and you get hints of sexual abuse with her reactions to Robot Man and the church that they have to go visit later because it's them two paired up. They take a trip to this church to find this guy to sew shut his hands because this sort of priest has these gateways coming out of his hands, and they have to sew it shut. But Hammerhead's got another agenda, as her and her other personality, one of her other personalities, uh, suffered some kind of negative history there that they don't really get into heavily, but they just kind of hint at it about how she feels about this type of stuff. So her agenda there was to go there, but they end up getting sucked into Nurmheim, and it's just absolutely hilarious because it looks great. It looks great. The fake snow on the ground, sort of sand. They get confronted, and at this point, she's Penny. It's a little bit hard to follow along with her sometimes, but she is such a great actress that she pulls off so many different voices, so many different behavioral traits that you can see the clear distinction when she's somebody else, and it is absolutely amazing. So they end up getting captured by these priestess because Penny's not a fighter. She's just going along with everything. They go to this church, and I know this all sounds a bit random and erratic, but the episode is pretty random and erratic. Like there's a lot of stuff to that adds up overall to the overall direction of the story. But essentially, they're at the temple of Nurmheim. They're confronted with these, as Robot Man says. And Robot Man's absolutely the funniest, always dropping in F bombs. And so the parents are there now, dressed like giant clowns or whatever, however you want to put it. Queen and King. The dad's dressed up like a jester. Even though his throat's still slit, he's sitting there on the throne, and Robot Man makes a joke about how it didn't work out for him. Uh, but the mother's going on about how they've been rewarded and how they're going to change the whole world and all this. And it sounds like it's raining. Oh, God. But he tells them that you'll never find the kid because they did all this spell stuff and he's hidden. But she makes it clear they know exactly where to find him. But getting into other elements, we saw like Rita actually had a very strong moment this episode. She prevents the kid Elliot, the kid with all the tattoos, that's supposed to be this book that they have to read to bring in this eye to destroy the world or what remake the world, however you want to put it. Elliot gets paired with Negative Man as Negative Man tries to keep him safe. That this conversation they have between each other leads to Elliot. He just wants to go kill himself. So he bails on Negative Man. Negative Man keeps waking up to this tape of himself playing by the negative energy. And at this point, first, earlier in the episode, he doesn't see what it's about. He's just like, oh, God, again. And then at this point, they're paying it off because he sees that Chief actually had a conversation with the negative energy through this machine that he made. And the negative energy goes on to say, he asks him what sustains him, and he says torture. So Negative Man's getting closer to figuring out how all this is going to work for him, what the real deal is with this situation, with this thing possessing him. And all that was a really great payoff. And Rita has a really big payoff when she stops Elliot from jumping out the window. Now, I was a bit skeptical. I thought she was just going to like abruptly push him out the window after she's like, I'm going to save you or whatever, because she's a little bit like that. But she was absolutely astounding. I was surprised that she talked this kid down. She understood him. She even hugged him and comforted him. It was just great. She even went steps further in the episode when the house started getting flooded with enemies. Cyborg and uh, Cyborg and Willoughby had they had to stand together and fight, and Cyborg reveals his awesome rocket cannon, and Willoughby reveals his awesome sword bathed in fire, and we get this awesome fight between these priestesses. It's not the greatest fight you'd imagine. Negative Man uh, goes off to try to stop them from getting down the stairway, and he figures out how to unleash his negative person, the negative energy to attack all these cultists. And down in the bottom, you got Rita and Elliot, and Rita actually shines even more when she protects Elliot from Willoughby. She stretches and knocks him against the wall, refuses to kill Elliot because that's the only way to stop the world from ending. If they get their hands on Elliot, it's all bad, doom and gloom. But upstairs, before, when these priestess guys started attacking Willoughby and Cyborg, Willoughby says they're made out of dead skin and letters that were never sent. And when they start killing them, you can see all these letters just flying all over the place with real writing and stuff on them. It's absolutely funny. It's a great episode. There's all kinds of eccentric things in here. It's important to note that Cyborg also said there's about 38 dimensions, which is different from Flash, where they're always talking about there's like 52 worlds, and until this last season where there was revealed to be like 53 or something. But going back into the episode, the Jester costume on the dad looks absolutely amazing. And when this mom is talking in this throne room, like she's got this creepy, like deep voice, and it's a really creepy setting. It's a beautiful setting too. The set designs, the costume designs, what do you want to call it? The cosmetics or whatever. All the props. It's really great, especially on these priestesses that show up, snatch Elliot, and start performing this ritual on them. The way they look, it is absolutely fantastic. Beyond that, they, like I said, they actually did get their hands on Elliot, and they took him to perform this ritual. And the special effects in that situation do look pretty great. And they do end up summoning the eye that is supposed to end the world, and you kind of get Robot Man and Jane or Penny. In their situation, when the Mother Priestess is talking to him, she shows them things like makes Cliff see himself as Cliff, his human self, shows Jane see herself as a little girl, shows him see himself as a brain, all kinds of different perceptions that she's going on about the perceptions they have of each other and themselves, and you see all kinds of interesting things. And that notion that Cliff is treating Jane like his daughter. All kinds of great little payoffs, little moments in here. There's even a conversation between Willoughby and Cyborg about, they know two different versions of the Chief. His perception of what he knows about the Chief isn't correct. So there's all kinds of things in here about perception of reality that's really great to kind of take a deeper look at. And there's all kinds of F-bombs and funny lines and just dental floss that is the strongest thread in reality, and smoking somebody's ashes to open dimensional gateways. This a blue horse unicorn thing, kind of. There's just all kinds of weird stuff going on in here, and this show is incredibly entertaining, man. I can't get enough of it so far. I am not greatly disappointed or anything. Every time I start to feel like I'm getting disappointed, bam, they catch me again. And I really enjoyed it. This was really a filler episode that made no progress toward finding the Chief, but it's so entertaining that you're not even gonna care. You're not gonna care. I would give this like a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. Absolutely recommend watching this show. If you haven't got into it yet, you need to. That you will enjoy. They do cuss. They do all that stuff that they don't do on CW shows, and They have a bigger budget to back them, a more cinematic value quality to their episodes. Highly recommend watching this. So, like, subscribe, stay awesome, rock on, comment down below. Tell me your favorite moments from this episode. As I said before, stay awesome, rock on.